My name's Victoria and I am one of the yoga instructors at Real Pilates in Dubai. And I thought it would be lovely if we could practice some yoga together and just help to try and counteract some of this sitting that we're doing at a desk or on a sofa throughout this crisis that we're all facing at the moment. So we will begin sitting down. So obviously I want you to make sure that you're listening to your body throughout the practice today. So just make sure that you're taking it nice and easy if you've not practiced yoga before, or if you're an experienced practitioner, then hopefully this will help you just to slow down and reset a little bit. So just come to find yourself a nice comfortable seated position on your mat. So I like to sit cross-legged, you might not, and it really doesn't matter as long as you're nice and comfy. So we'll just start with the hands down onto the knees, and I want you to think about sitting up nice and tall here. And then we'll just close the eyes. So with the eyes closed, we're just going to bring our attention to the breath. So we're not actually changing anything about the breathing today, or at the moment anyway, we're just focusing on how it feels. We're just settling onto the mat for this approximately half an hour, maybe 40-minute practice today. So maybe you're just noticing how the air feels as it flows in and out through the nostrils here. Just focusing on sitting nice and tall and extending through the crown of the head here. And maybe just turning up the sides of the mouth ever so slightly to give yourself a little smile here. And then just start to pay attention to the physical body. So just notice what comes up in the body at the moment. Any feelings of resistance, anything that feels a little bit uncomfortable at the moment. And again, there's no problem with that. You're simply just noticing how you're feeling. And we're going to take a nice deep inhale through the nose here. And a nice big exhale through the mouth. We'll do this one more time, inhaling through the nose. And as you exhale through the mouth, allow the shoulders just to drop away from the ears here. And then lift the hands, place them over the eyes. And then just gently blink the eyes open and bring the hands down. Perfect. So we're going to stay seated exactly where we are now. But I just want you, if you've got your legs crossed, to switch which leg is in front. So it might feel a little bit funny. And then you're going to reach your left hand down towards the floor here. Inhale, raise the right hand all the way up overhead. And then place your right hand onto your left ear. And all you're going to do is ever so slightly just start to tilt the head down towards the right shoulder. So you'll start to feel a nice stretch down the left-hand side of the neck here. Well done. If you wish, you can close the eyes here. It's a nice gentle movement. So just allow the ear to drop down towards the shoulder. It's a really lovely stretch. And then staying exactly where you are, just start to think about pushing the head up into the hand ever so slightly. So you won't see me actually move when I do this. It's a very slight action of just pushing the head gently up into the hand, and then again releasing that tension, allowing the ear to drop down towards the shoulder. Bring that right hand onto the back of the head and start to turn the nose down towards the armpit, so you're changing the direction of the stretch slightly. And again, maybe if you're used to this pattern of movement, you can start to bring your attention to the breath again. We're going to push the head back up into the hand. So ever so slightly again, start to push the head back up into the hand here to bring a bit of active motion into the muscles. And then just release. And then you're going to continue bringing the nose into the center of the chest. Make sure you're not rounding through the back, it's only the neck that's involved in this movement. Tucking the chin and looking down between the legs here. Making sure this left hand is nice and active, reaching towards the floor at the same time. And then push the head up into the hand here. One more little moment here, and then release the chin towards the chest. Slowly start to bring the head up, release the right hand towards the floor. We'll take it the other side, so make sure you're reaching through the right arm. Inhale, reach the left hand up, place it onto the ear, and gently just start to bring the left ear down towards the left shoulder here. Again, if you wish, you can close the eyes and start to pay attention to the breath here and the breathing. And then nice and carefully, you'll just start to push the head up into the hand ever so slightly to bring that active muscle motion again. And then release, allowing the ear to drop down. Bring the hand onto the back of the head, bring the nose towards the left armpit. And again, this left hand is not pulling the head down, it's just helping along with gravity to drop the chin down towards the floor slightly. And again, push the head back up into the hand here. You're probably pushing about 70% of what you can, so it's not 100%. And then release, allowing the chin to come down again. We're going to bring the chin into the centre of the chest so the elbow will face forwards, round through the neck but not the upper back, and look straight down between the legs. And then push the head back up into the hand once again. And then release, bring the left hand down and lift the head. Well done. So hopefully your neck will feel nice and loose. We're going to come into a little toe stretch here. So I'm going to come sideways on. The toes are tucked. So you want to make sure that all 10 toes are tucked here. If you need to use your hands to tuck your baby toes under. And then I want you to think about keeping a nice long spine here. We're going to bring the arms out wide. And then we're going to come into eagle arms or Garandasana arms. So right arm comes on top. You either stay here giving yourself a little hug, back of hands touch, or you double wrap the hands. As you start to take an inhale through the nose, the arms rise. And as you exhale, you're going to round through the back, bringing the elbows towards the belly. We're going to do this 2 more times. So your own breath. So inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Last one here. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Come back to centre. Release the arms. So we're trying to keep the toes tucked if you can. I realise it's uncomfortable for some, so if you need to untuck, it's fine. We're going to bring the left arm on top, giving ourselves a nice little hug, or backs of hands touch or wrap. Again, same little cat-cow movement here. Inhale to arch through the spine, lifting the arms up, and then exhale, round through the spine, bringing the elbows towards the belly button. 2 more times, moving with the breath. So we inhale to lift and we exhale to round. Last one here, inhale to lift and then exhale to round. Come back up through centre, release the hands, and now you can release the toes if you haven't already, and we're coming into a tabletop all fours position here. Toes can be tucked or untucked, it's up to you. Fingers spread nice and wide. We're going to warm up the wrists now. Turn your fingers out to the sides of your mat here and just bend the elbows slightly, and we're just rocking from side to side here. So again, start to check in with your breath here and just remind yourself that when we're practicing yoga, we never really want to be holding the breath. Okay, if you find yourself holding the breath, it normally means you've gone a little bit too far. So make sure there's a nice smooth inhale and a nice smooth exhale. We'll come back to centre. Turn your fingers to face towards your knees on both hands if you can. And just gently start to rock forwards and backwards. You can allow the heel of the hand to lift if you wish. And you can make this movement as big or as small as is comfortable for you. Rocking forwards and backwards here. And then we're slowly going to come back to centre. Turn your fingers back to the front of the mat. And we're going to warm up the core. So tuck the toes if they're not already tucked. Start to lift the belly towards the spine. And then you're going to push through the hands as much as you can to lift the knees to a hover. So I hope you can see my knees are about 1 inch off the floor here. If this next move is too much, by all means, drop to the knees if you need to. We're going to keep the pelvis nice and stable, and we're going to send the right leg back and the right toes touch the floor here. Keep pushing the hands into the floor. Step the right toes back next to the left, so the knees are still hovering. Step the left toes back, nice and controlled through the pelvis, not allowing it to move from side to side. Well done. Come back to centre. We're going to do one more each side, so keep pushing the hands, send the right toes back, drawing the belly towards the spine, and then right toes come back in, left toes zoned back out behind you again, and then we come back to that hovering tabletop. We're going to hold here for 2 more breaths. So this is telling you need to use your control in your breathing. Nice smooth inhale, nice smooth exhale. 1 more breath, you can do it. Well done. And then we'll drop to the floor, sit back on the heels, and we're going to come to stand at the top of the mat. So in yoga, I quite like to have the feet hip distance wide. By all means, if you want to have your feet together, then you can. We're going to ground down into the mat by spreading the toes nice and wide and pushing them down into the floor. Standing nice and tall here, lifting the chin slightly. We're going to take an inhale and rise the arms all the way up overhead. Maybe looking up towards the hands if you wish. And then exhale, hands come through centre, bend the knees and come down to the floor and allow the head to hang. So we're going to stay here in our forward fold for a few breaths. So I recommend, if you have been sat down for a long time today, to keep the knees nice and bent here. That's just going to help to take any cramping or tension off the spine and the hamstrings. And if you wish, you can hold on to opposite elbows here and just sway nicely from side to side. Maybe you find that this gives you a nice little side stretch already. And then we're slowly going to come back to centre. You're going to take a halfway lift, so Ardha Uttanasana, hands underneath the knees, straighten the legs, shoot the chest forwards and send the hip creases back. We're going to bend the knees, hands to the floor, right leg goes back and the knee drops down, so you're in a low lunge position. Inhale, raise the arms out wide, all the way overhead, and then interlace the fingers behind the head here. So it's almost like you're in a kind of a sunbathing pose. And then from here, draw the belly button in, keep the front knee nice and still. We're just going to take a little sideways movement here. So you can keep your eye on that front knee, because often what happens is it wants to join in. So keep the chest lifted. You can push the head slightly back into the hands here. As you take this side to side movement nice and slowly and controlled, and at the same time as using your breath here. We'll come back to centre, bring the hands to the floor. We're just going to step forwards and switch to the other side. So right foot comes forward, left foot comes back, drop the knee. Make sure the front knee is stacked over the ankle. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead, and we'll do exactly the same thing. So interlace the fingers behind the head, open the chest up slightly, keep an eye on that front knee. And then we're just going to slowly start to take this sideways bend. Maybe inhaling to go in one direction and exhaling to go in the other direction. And it's quite nice to push the head back into the hands at the same time. We'll take 1 more each side here and then come back to centre. Bring the hands down towards the floor. We're going to step towards the top of the mat. So step forwards, and we're in this forward fold again. So knees are still bent, holding onto the elbows if you wish, and just allow yourself to hang really heavy here. Start to play around with the weight in the feet. So just start to shift forwards and backwards a little, maybe side to side. It's a very slight movement. Maybe you want to go round in a circle in one direction. Maybe you want to go the other direction. We're going to take that halfway lift, so start to straighten up, straighten the legs, hands below the knees, collarbones open up forwards, and then exhale, come down towards the floor, the right leg goes back again, we're coming into another low lunge. So right knee down, left leg forwards, inhale, raise the arms all the way up, overhead this time, and just see how tall you can make yourself through both sides of the waist here. So notice how when we've got the right leg back, often we'll dump through into the left side. So I want you to really focus on getting really long through both sides of the waist here. But remember, you still need to breathe. So A nice deep inhale to maybe lift the chest ever so slightly. See if you can pull that front heel back. So it's like you're almost trying to drag the mat back towards you. And then hands come to the floor. We're going to take the other side. So right leg forwards, left leg back, drop the knee down. Same thing again, inhale, lifting all the way up. Get super long through both sides of the body. Think about drawing your right heel back and think about drawing your left hip forwards. So it's a really active low lunge here. We're not just thinking about dumping the weight forwards. We're really tall and long through both sides of the body. Well done. And then the hands come to the floor. We're going to step to the top of the mat again. And again, take your little variation of your forward fold. We've done a couple of forward folds, so maybe you can think about bringing the hips up towards the sky a little bit more and allowing the belly to sit down onto the thighs here. If you're an experienced yogi, then of course you can bring the hands underneath the feet here, making sure the feet are hip distance wide, the thumbs are pushing into the wrist creases, and you allow the head to hang heavy and send the bottom up towards the sky here. Again, please listen to your body. If this feels like too much and you're holding your breath, then we're here. We're going to inhale for that halfway lift, so shoot the chest forwards. Exhale, drop the hands to the floor and tuck the chin for a moment. And then a nice big inhale through the nose, bring the arms up wide, lift all the way up overhead. And then exhale, hands down to heart center. Perfect. So reset yourself at the top of the mat here. Squidge the feet down into the mat if you can. Stand up nice and tall. Thinking about growing nice and tall through the spine, through the front of the chest at the same time. Hands reach down towards the floor. And we'll just take a moment here with the eyes closed. So just take a peaceful moment, bringing your attention back to the breath here. Breathing in and out through the nose. A smooth inhale. A smooth exhale, allowing the shoulders to drop away from the ears. Blinking the eyes open if they're closed. We'll inhale, raise the arms all the way up overhead again. Exhale through center, bend the knees and bring the hands to the floor, tuck the chin. Inhale for Ardha Uttanasana, bring the chest forwards, hips push back. And then bend the knees, hands to the floor. We're stepping back to plank. If plank is too much for you, then we'll just drop to the knees and you still get the lovely same feeling through the top of the back. So, fingers are spread nice and wide, hands are directly underneath the shoulders here. Think about the space between the shoulder blades and really push that space up towards the sky or the ceiling. We're going to hold for 2 more breaths, so we're really waking up the core here. Might have been a bit sleepy if we've been slumped in an office chair, so nice to wake it up. And then we'll drop the knees to the floor. Keep the belly high as you shift forwards, and we're going to come down to the floor for the count of 5. So deep inhale through the nose, and then we exhale for 5. Elbows hug in for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Release the toes, so untuck the toes. Roll the shoulder blades back and down, and we're taking just a very small cobra, so push the tops of the feet into the floor, hug the elbows in and shoot the chest forwards. Keep the back of the neck long so you're looking just towards the top of your mat here, and then come down towards the floor, tuck the toes under, hug the elbows in, push up to all fours nice and slowly. We're coming back for down dog. I like to send my bum back to the heels first and stretch the arms out. And then we can lift up into this all fours position with the bottom shooting up towards the sky. And the heels are reaching towards the floor, but the aim is not to get them down towards the floor. The aim is to lengthen through your spine. So in your downward facing dog, you might want to bend one knee, straighten the other leg. Walking your dog out here. And then maybe bringing your attention to the shoulders as you find stillness in the legs. And allow the space between the shoulders and the ears to grow wider. So think about drawing the shoulder blades away from the ears and allow the head to hang heavy. We're going to inhale, raise the right leg up to the sky, kicking through the heel. And then exhale, bring the knee into the chest and place the foot down at the top of the mat. You stay where you are. I'm just going to switch the other direction so you can see me. We're coming into warrior two, so back heel down to 90 degrees, open the arms out, and you're in your warrior two. So if, whilst I'm talking to you, this warrior two is too difficult, you can straighten that front leg. Otherwise, what we're going to do is take the right hand, make a fist with your right hand, okay? Now bring the right hand just behind the hip, so don't bring the hand all the way behind you, just bring it towards the hip. Now start to bend that front leg if you haven't already. I want you to tuck your elbow on the inside of that knee, okay? So right elbow comes on the inside of that leg. Push the leg away with that elbow and reach the left hand all the way overhead. So it's your side angle, but the slight different variation here. So you're opening up through the chest. We've made it nice and active because we're pushing the right elbow and the right thigh towards each other. And then start to draw the belly button in. We're coming back up to warrior two here. And then we're going to cycle the hands down towards the floor and come back into your downward facing dog. So again, just thinking from the ground up in your downward facing dog. Hands are shoulder distance wide. Maybe slightly wider if you've got tight shoulders. We're thinking about the space under the armpits and getting really long through the armpits here. We're going to take 2 more breaths here in our down dog. And then we're going to send the left leg to the sky. So kick through the heel to lift that leg up. We're not trying to point the toes and get the leg as high as we can. We want to wake up the glutes, so wake up the bum muscles. Look between the hands. We're going to bring the left knee to the chest and step the foot to the top of the mat. And again, warrior two. So open the right leg out to 90 degrees and then bring your arms up parallel to the floor. Keep pushing through the outer edge of that back foot and make sure the front knee remains tracking over the ankle. We're going to take that shoulder opener. So make a fist with your left hand this time. Place it just behind the hip, okay? And then bend through that front leg a lot, but make sure the knee is stacking over the ankle. Hook the elbow in and you're pushing that thigh away from you, but at the same time you're pushing the thigh into the arm, so they're kind of fighting with each other. Inhale, raise that back arm all the way up overhead, and you've just got this one lovely long line of energy from your right middle finger all the way down the side of the body to the pinky toe side of that foot. We're going to take one more breath here. Hopefully your legs are waking up. And then we're going to come back to warrior two, once again using the abdominal muscles to bring us there. And then cycle the hands down towards the floor. Step back for your downward facing dog. So we've done a few of these now, so maybe you kind of know where feels good for you in your down dog, where your hands should be, where your feet should be. And again, if you need to bend the knees to allow you to push your chest back towards the thighs, that's much nicer for the lower back than worrying about getting the heels to the floor and rounding through the back, okay? We're going to take one more breath here. And then we're going to look between the hands, step the right foot forwards to the top of the mat. Left foot comes to meet it. Inhale, halfway lift. Really lengthen through the crown of the head here. And then bend the knees and fold over the legs again. Inhale, arms come out wide, reach all the way up overhead. And then exhale, hands down to heart center. Good stuff. So we're going to warm up the legs a little bit more. Again, they might be a bit sleepy. So we're going to come into a chair pose. So bring the feet together here. Or actually, before we come to chair pose, let's work out the ankles. So bring the feet together so even the heels are together here and stand nice and tall. It's up to you if you want to reach the arms overhead for an extra balance. Otherwise, we'll bring the hands to heart center. We're going to inhale and lift up the heels, then squeeze the heels together here. So I'll just come down so you can see. So I'm squeezing the heels together, squeezing the legs together to give that lift here. If you want, you can reach the arms up overhead. And then we'll slowly drop down to the heels again. Well done. We're going to do this 2 more times. So inhale, rock forwards onto the ball of the feet, squeeze the heels together, maybe reach up or hands at heart center, and then lower all the way back down. Last one, well done. Big inhale, reaching arms up or keeping them at heart center. Exhale, coming all the way back down. Keep the feet where they are, but maybe just bring them so that the heels are not touching. Sometimes that can feel a bit uncomfortable. We're going to come into a chair pose. So as you inhale, you're going to start to drop the bottom down and reach the arms either straight out in front of you or maybe up towards the sky. Just paying attention to how the back feels. If lifting the arms up overhead is uncomfortable, don't do it. Just bring the hands lower. So we're sitting the bottom nice and low here, but we don't want any Beyonce bums, so we don't want anyone sticking their bottom out. We want to tuck under, only to a certain degree that we don't end up like a hunched old lady. So somewhere in between here. We'll take another deep inhale here, and then exhale, fold forwards. Keep the knees slightly bent and tuck the chin in. Inhale, halfway lift, look forwards. And then exhale, start to sit down into that chair pose. So bum comes low, we lift the arms up and you're coming into that chair pose once again. Stay low with the hips but bring the hands to heart center. Start to bring the weight into the left leg. Stay low in the hips and then shoot the right leg out towards the side here. Bring it back to center, reset. And then we'll take it the other side, sending the other leg out to the side and just bring the toes towards the floor, sit low. And then come back to center, one more each side, you can do it. Deep inhale, send that leg out to the side here, sit nice and low. And then come back to center, one more time, then back in again. Fold down, tucking the chin in. Inhale, halfway lift. And then bend the knees, place the hands on the floor. We're coming back for a plank. So one leg goes back, opposite leg goes back. And remind yourself of that space between the shoulder blades. Push up between the shoulder blades towards the sky. We're going to take 3 breaths here. So a smooth inhale and a smooth exhale. See how long you can make that inhale and exhale. So you're really challenging yourself here. And wherever you are in your breath pattern, we're going to drop to the knees and we're going to come to sit on the bottom. Well done. So I'm going to turn to face you because it will be easier for you to see. We're going to send the right leg out to the side, so the right leg is out wide. The left foot is going to come in contact with the inside of the right thigh. Now have a look at your right toes, make sure they're facing up towards the ceiling here. And a little bit like we were doing with that warrior 2, you're going to bring your right elbow on the inside of that right thigh, okay? Your right hand is going to come into contact with the left thigh. Left hand is on the left ribs. Now open the elbow and the chest up towards the sky here. Have a little look at your right foot. Make sure the toes are up to the sky still. And then you can lift the left hand and you're going to reach that left hand over towards the foot, not allowing the chest to come forwards. We're not trying to reach the foot here. We're trying to create this lovely opening. And then slowly on your next inhale, come back to center. You're going to place the left hand on the floor, but fingers point behind you. Point to the right toes. We're going to inhale, sweep the arms forwards, lift the hips, push the hips forwards towards me. Right hand reaches back. So it's a nice back bend here, almost like a wild thing if you know the pose. And allow the head to be wherever it wants to be. It doesn't have to hang here. Maybe it wants to look down or up. And we'll slowly come down to the floor again. And then we'll switch to the other side. So bring the right leg in, left leg out, left toes to the sky. Right foot comes in contact with the left thigh. And then again, left elbow on the inside of that left thigh. Left hand towards the right leg. Right hand onto the ribs. And then inhale, open the chest up, open the elbow up. And you're welcome to stay here if you wish. You don't have to lift the arm overhead. If you want to though, you would reach that arm over, keeping the integrity of the torso here. And breathing into the side body. We'll do this for one more breath here. And then slowly come up through center. Place the right hand on the floor, fingers point away. Point the left toes, sweep the left arm forwards, lifting the bum, sending the hips forwards and reaching that left arm overhead and behind you. And maybe looking down towards the right hand or up towards the left hand, it's up to you. We'll take one more breath here. So remember, if you can't breathe, you've gone too far, so you would just drop down slightly. And then we'll all come down towards the floor once again. And then we'll bring both knees in and we'll just come into that all fours tabletop pose once again. Now, in all fours tabletop, just to help us get into pigeon, I would suggest either walking the knees back or the hands forward, so you're in a kind of a strange tabletop position. We're going to bring the right leg out behind us, so kick through the right leg here. Then draw the knee towards you underneath. Send your right toes to the left side of the mat and your right knee will drop, okay? So your leg is diagonally across you. I'll come this way so you can see. Now, the closer it is towards the hip, the easier it will be. If you want more of a stretch, the foot would come in line with the top of the mat. So, tuck the back toes, wiggle that leg back straight. Now, I'd like you to bring your left hand and place it on your right foot, okay? Right hand comes back next to you. Anchor the foot into the floor with the hand, lift the chest here. So you're thinking about dropping the pubic bone down towards the floor and you're squeezing your left bum cheek at the same time. If this is too much, you'll just drop down lower, okay? So again, listen to your body here. We're going to take one more deep inhale. And then we're going to start to walk the hands forwards, placing the forearms down onto the floor. So we're not coming into that kind of lazy, sleepy pigeon that we're used to. We're coming into a half sphinx. So elbows are directly underneath the shoulders here. Come back so you can see. And I'm thinking about drawing my heart space forwards and the shoulders down and away from the ears. It's like a hybrid between a pigeon and a sphinx, which I'm sure you never thought would actually happen. So we'll take one more breath here, keeping the hips nice and level. And then for those of us who love to come down into sleepy pigeon, you can go ahead and stretch the arms out in front of you. If this is enough, you'll stay here. Otherwise, you can bring the head towards the floor. But I want you to really stretch the arms forwards and almost like you're trying to grip the floor or the mat with your fingertips and drag it back towards you. So it's creating some activation down the sides of the back here. And then start to walk the hands back towards the knee. And then there's no graceful way out of this. We're just going to tuck the back toes and wiggle that knee forwards, coming into that all fours position once again. Step the hands out further in front of you. Send the left leg back. This time draw the left knee into the chest. Send the left toes to the right side of the mat, reminding yourself that you can either keep the foot nice and close to the hip or you can bring it further forwards, okay? It's completely up to your anatomy. Wherever you are, bring the toes towards the floor on the right foot and wiggle that leg straight. Untuck the toes and you get there. Right hand to the left foot. Left hand on the outside of that knee. Again, inhale, send the pelvis forward, start to squeeze the right bum cheek and anchor the left foot down into the floor and send that heart space forwards here. Well done. Again, make sure you check in with the breathing. So your breathing should be nice and smooth and controlled here. No need to throw the head back. We want to keep the back of the neck nice and long here if we can. And then we're going to start to come down into that kind of hybrid sphinx pose. So bring the elbows to the floor, making sure the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders here. And then I want you to think about your heart space. Draw the heart space forwards to the top of your mat. And again, you can almost, like we said in the other sleepy pigeon, you can almost imagine you're dragging the hands back towards you to help bring some activation in here. Keep allowing the hips to drop here. One more breath, you can do it. Well done. And then slowly start to walk the hands out if you wish, allowing the head to drop towards the floor and really reach the arms forwards and drag the floor or the mat back towards you here. If at any point, I should have said this on the other side, so I'm sorry, if you have knee problems, just tuck the toes under. That can sometimes help. You can even lift the knee here, but you need quite a lot of hip strength and mobility to be able to do that. So you can find somewhere that feels reasonably comfortable. I think pigeon is one of those Marmite poses. You either love it or you hate it. And we'll slowly start to walk the hands back towards the body. And then again, ungracefully wiggle the right knee forwards. Come into all fours. Now make sure hands are underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. And all you're going to do is just tap the toes from side to side here. So it's almost like if you had a tail, you were wiggling your tail from side to side. Perfect. And then come back to centre. We'll come into a child's pose, so bring the knees wide, untuck the toes, sit the bottom down, reach the arms forwards and drop the head towards the floor here. So again, child's pose is a great pose to really think about your breathing. I like to start thinking about breathing into the back of the body here, so that space between the shoulder blades that we were talking about in plank. Start to think about inhaling into this area. And maybe you wish to close the eyes here, slowing things down. We'll take 2 more nice long breaths here. And then walk the hands back towards you. Bring the knees in, and we're going to come to lie down on the back, so make your way onto your back however you wish. But bring the knees in towards the chest here. We're coming for our last or second to last pose. Neck is nice and relaxed. The arms are going to open out to the side like a T. And then you're just going to drop both knees towards the right hand side. And you're going to turn your head and start to look towards your left hand here. This is a nice supine twist. If your knees don't drop all the way to the right side, don't worry. You can bring the knees a little bit further away from you, so it's almost like your legs are straightening halfway. Sometimes that allows the knees to drop down. And you want to find that balance between the knees coming down and the left shoulder reaching down towards the floor. We'll take 1 more breath here. And on your next inhale, bring the knees into centre. And take it all the way to the left. And again, turn towards to look towards the opposite hand. And again, thinking about dropping the knees towards the left. But bringing the right shoulder down towards the floor here. And if you want, you can close the eyes. This is our final pose before a short and sweet Shavasana. So we're just starting to slow things down again. Bringing the knees back to centre on your next inhale. And then you'll take your Shavasana. So traditionally we would straighten the legs out. Hands, palms face up to the sky and hands either side of the hips. Maybe if you've got lower back troubles, you'll bend the knees and allow the knees just to touch here. Wherever you are, maybe you want to sit if you wish. We'll close the eyes here. And please stay with me just for a couple of minutes for this Shavasana. It's the best part of yoga. So with the eyes closed, we're just starting to lose that control of the breath, allowing that natural rhythm to return. And as you allow that natural rhythm to return, start to bring your attention to the breath like you did at the start of the class. Noticing how the air enters the nostrils and exits the nostrils. Noticing which parts of the physical body move with the inhale and the exhale. Maybe noticing the breath is a bit slower, a bit more easier to breathe in and out. So we lengthen through the sides of the body and the front of the back of the body. With the next few exhales, I invite you to bring your attention to all the muscles around the face, the head, the neck. And use every exhale to allow these muscles just to relax. If it helps, as you inhale, you can say in your mind, I am. And as you exhale, you can say to yourself, relaxed. I am relaxed. We'll take 3 more breaths here, really focusing that exhale on releasing the muscles. And then we'll just start to wiggle the fingers and the toes here. And in your own time, hug the knees in towards the chest, keeping the head on the floor. And then just roll all the way to your right hand side in this little ball pose. Head's rested on the floor. And then using your left hand, you'll push yourself all the way up to whatever seated position is comfortable for you. Eyes closed, hands on the knees and extending through the crown of the head here. Once you've sat up and you're nice and quiet and happy in your position, we'll bring the hands together at heart center. Take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. One more time like this, really deep inhale. This is your last chance to exhale and sigh out. And then we'll rub the hands together to create some heat. And then place the hands over the eyes and gently blink the eyes open and bring the hands down. Perfect. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to practice with me today. I really hope you enjoyed it. And hello to everyone who I know, and hello to any newbies or anyone I haven't met before. So it was lovely to practice with you. Thank you so much. And hopefully I will see you sometime soon. Bye guys.